Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it.
Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with the opening of the Green Sun Summit. Here with Harry Hackett, we're about to play some Abzan Maverick. Harry, a huge thank you for coming on. Can you tell me a little bit about this list that we have in front of us?
Thanks for having me on. As a Fiend Artisan build a Maverick, it's kind of a bit slower, grindier. There's a lot of bullets in here. Some MH3 cards, Barrowgoyf, Ajani. Lots of endurance main deck because of blue-black tempo reanimate. I've tried to build the deck in a way so it has a pretty good matchup against that deck.
Yeah, Frog's been a pretty tough one to deal with because I feel like, say if you have something like a Leyline of the Void and they have the sort of Entomb or Reanimate package alongside a Frog, they can kind of get away with the dead cards by just going all in on the Frog plan. And obviously, if it connects and replaces itself, then it's a little bit hard to remove it and then keep up with the value that it can, keep providing.
Right, and so that's why there's 5 removal spells in here, 4 swords, decay, and then there's Scryb Ranger, which can block it forever. And then in the sideboard, there's another 2 Path to Exiles to get rid of frogs.
Yeah, the paths are really nice. I think that path is just generically really nice, although there is a downside of them typically getting a land. However, I do find a lot of matchups post-board against Maverick being a wasteland deck do go for their basics early on, especially blue-black. I find that they go for island and swamp straight away, so sometimes path is just a better sort of plowshares. But I do like that path gets anything from, say, like an early frog to a Archon or an Atrax or a Troll. Whereas something like Abrupt Decay can sometimes be a little bit awkward if you've kept the Decay hand and they've gone for the Reanimate sort of plan.
Yeah, and the other thing against blue-black is their deck is really lean, so they can function on 2 mana a lot of the time. But late game, they'll have 3-4 lands in play. Another land isn't really a big deal, and not gaining them like 6 life on a troll is, so.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. And I think comes up a lot against Marit Lage as well. Being able to path a Marit Lage when you're realistically winning the game through combat damage means that you're not giving them the extra 2 to 3 turns. And that can definitely come up against blue-black as well. So that's actually, a really solid point. One card that I haven't played around with too much, but I do really like in this sort of build, especially with Fiend Artisan, is Ajani. How's Ajani been going in practice?
So Johnny's sick. He's obviously better in a deck with red cards, but he's still pretty good here. So by himself, he's 2 mana for a 1/2 that makes it 2/1. So against decks with a lot of 1-for-1 removal, which is common now because of Psychic Frog, he's nice because even if they kill a Johnny, you still have a 2/1 left over, which is pretty good rate. 2 mana, 2/1, and gets rid of a removal spell. And if you have a Fiend Artisan out, you can sack the cat token to flip a Johnny right away. And then you have a Planeswalker that makes a cat, which you can sack to Fiend Artisan every turn. You can make an army of cats, uptick, that's a win con right there. And then also the -4 is really good against decks like Death and Taxes or Cradle Control if you can set it up to just Cataclysm them.
Yeah, that's a great point, especially with Fiend Artisan having like the 2 bodies around to make sure that you most likely always have a creature on board when Artisan's down. And then also Grist, like having a token that you don't really care about that could potentially remove an opposing threat is really cool. So yeah, Ajani is nice because I feel like in Mav there's not too many 2-for-1s going around. And yeah, Ajani providing that extra body is really nice. It has some small upside with Caracas where you can, try to go wide a little bit. But the other card is Barrowgoyf. And the reason that I bring up Barrowgoyf and Ajani is that I typically find in Maverick with Green Sun Zenith, if you add one green card, then you have 5 virtual copies. So there has to be like a lot of good reasoning as to why you would add in some non-green creatures. And typically they're pretty powerful. Think of, Thalia, Mother of Runes, Stoneforge Mystic Inditator, and then Orcish Bowmasters, Ajani, and Barrowgoyf. Goyf, I played a little bit with it and seems great on attack and defense, and obviously also has just built-in card advantage, which is really nice. Do you like Barrowgoyf against any particular matchups?
It's great against tempo decks. It's good against decks like Moon Stompy. Any matchup that is combat focused, the lifelink is great. The card advantage is good against decks like Control. It's a little awkward against decks like Eldrazi or Cradle Control, where they just have a whole bunch of chump blockers to put in front of it, so I'll board it out in matchups like that. But against tempo, it's really hard for them to deal with a lot of the time outside like Fatal Push, so it can really just like swing the game by itself.
Yeah, 100% agree. And at 2 and 1 black, it's not that hard to cast either. The mana base here, we do have 2 Bayous, the one Shadowy Backstreet, so no Scrubland, and then the Nurturing Peatland, and then also the Ignoble Hierarch. So a fair amount of black mana, which is really nice because, yeah, I find typically in the matchups where you want the black mana, you're also up against Wasteland decks or decks that are going to go after your mana. So having, the 2 Bayous, the Backstreet, and also the Peatland as kind of your draw land is really nice. How did you kind of come up with the thought of just going back to the forest, so no plains, and then no scrubland?
So the reason I'm not playing plains or scrubland, the main reason is just to maximize turn 1 green sources. This deck basically always wants to have a turn 1 dork. There's no other 1-drops like Mother of Runes or anything else. So you basically always want to start with green source mana dork, and plains or scrubland can make that awkward. And then the Bayou is also nice for casting a turn 1 Thoughtseize out of the board. So really it's built to maximize turn 1 mana dorks.
Nice. I love that. I believe just counting, we have 15 turn 1 green sources. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 15. That's a lot. And the once upon a times to find them as well, which is really nice. All right. One card that I need to bring up is Phyrexian Revoker, which I told you before, as a player who came into the format through Death and Taxes and a deck that used to run many a Revoker. What sort of cards are you targeting with Revoker?
Main reason it's there is for breakfast and or Nadu. Turn off Nomad's Encore, but it also hits a lot of other things in the format. It turns off the One Ring, it turns off Grindstone or Goblin Engineer, Goblin Welder against Painter. It turns off Ether Vial against Death and Taxes. It turns off Mana Dorks against Cradle Control. Does all sorts of things.
Yeah, love it. I do find that I probably play some number of like Hushbringer Gryff or Doorkeeper Thrall in that slot, but I like Revoker because if you're too late, then it's typically not good enough. It's kind of just a vanilla creature, but at least Revoker, you can obviously do something before and premeditate like a One Ring, or if it's down, you still have access to turning it off, which is really nice. Leovold. Now, I am a player that loves to play spells that I can cast from my mana base, but I also get the incentive because we have things like Noble Hierarch, we have Green Sun Zenith. Have you ever moved kind of in and out of running a Trop or another sort of blue land? Or do you find kind of the risk and the reward is just worth having sort of a more consistent mana base, and then the Leovold is typically a Green Sun's target, or hopefully if you draw it, you have the mana to play it out from your mana dorks?
I haven't had much trouble casting it with 4 Noble Hierarchs. A lot of the times in the matchups where you want it, your opponent won't really care about your Noble Hierarch, so they'll let them live, and it shouldn't be too hard to cast. I found that Trot does make the mana awkward. In a previous version, I did have Depths combo in here, so you could actually turn Thespian Stage into your opponent's blue land to cast it.
Nice.
But I think 4 Nobles is enough.
Yeah, cool. I think that's probably where, like, obviously Mavericks are different, but I would say I'm probably on the safest side of things. But with that comes less reward for taking the risks. So I do definitely appreciate it. I definitely love seeing it. Probably the newest card to the deck is Keen-Eyed Curator, which I've been a huge fan of since playing it, especially against decks like Painter, where you have things like Urza's Saga or Fable of Mirror Breaker, or obviously Painter's Servant, which within 2 clicks can make this into a 7/7 and really start racing, which is cool. Not taking into consideration Exalted. I think that there's not too many reasons why I would want Scavenging Ooze over this anymore. And I'm not sure if you've kind of done some of the pros and cons of either.
I think the main reason that Skoos would be better is for the life gain, and the list has 2 Barrowgoyfs, which are great for that. And in pretty much every other metric, Keen-Eyed Curator is just way better. 2 mana 3/3. It's already great stats, and then 7/7 Trample will just end the game really fast. And it can take colorless mana instead of green mana, which is big.
Yeah, pretty huge. I don't think people who play Mav would appreciate sometimes how little green mana you have access to when you really want it. I've definitely played a lot of lands matchups where I've had the green source to cast the ooze, and then I've just only had that green source to eat one thing at a time. So the colorless is awesome, and I think is a huge reason why you're seeing a lot more lists with Keen-Eyed Curator and not so much the ooze. The only other thing that I find really interesting and something that I've done as well is move Teeg to the main deck and then Collector Ooze to the sideboard. I assume some of the similar cards come up, like the new, is it Kozilek's Command?
Yeah, that's a big reason. They both turn off combo decks basically. In the past, Collector Roof has been better against decks like 8-Cast, which is why it's been in the main, but the deck isn't really around anymore. And Gaddock Teeg is good against Control to turn off like Supreme Verdicts, and then against Eldrazi to turn off their Kozilek's Command.
Nice. One other card is Wrath of the Skies, which I haven't played against too much Jeskai online, but now that they're running obviously Swords to Plowshares, which is still a great answer, but Prismatic Ending, Wrath of the Skies, potentially Leyline Binding, Supreme Verdict, Terminus. Teeg turns off a lot of their removal. So if they've already used some of it on another threat and then you drop a Teeg, it can get pretty awkward pretty fast for them, which I think is great for what Maverick wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. Did you want to say anything else about the list?
No, I think that's about all there is to say.
Cool, nice. I will have all this content or all this this deck list, I believe, in the Cupboard Live functionality on Twitch, and then obviously also in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. Harry, a huge thank you for coming on. This will be pretty exciting. I'm pretty keen to see how this goes. Switch it over to gameplay. I can still see you. That's perfect. Nice. Do you stream yourself, or have you ever thought of streaming?
I don't. I might get into that sometime. Thought about it.
Nice. I feel like there's a lot of good Maverick streamers, which is nice. There's Achilles, who is on enough. There's obviously Mark Strassman. Clips, I believe, streams from time to time. I know 90s MTG has also got into Mav, which is nice to see Chris repping the Green Sun Zenith. So it's nice. I feel like whenever I turn on Twitch,
there's
always
a lot of good content.
Yeah, there's always someone to watch, which is really cool. I see in chat, shots fired. How do you feel about Fiend Artisan in the current metagame? And have you tried out White of the Roller Quarry either? Oh my gosh! You know what we've done, haven't you?
Yeah.
We have taken Yannick's next one and gone into this. Would you like to play one game of this and then, or would you like to just get out of this and I don't mind.
Let's just start with the new deck. I am not a depths expert.
Okay. Nice. Thankfully, FGS is a fan of the channel, which is cool. That's interesting you say, because you are probably one of the first people to bring depths back into Maverick. So to say you're not like a depths connoisseur is very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know all the lines with crop rot and step and everything. I'm sure I could figure them out, but my version was a lot simpler. You have one depths, one stage. It's about it. Now there's Talon Gates, which is a protection land, but
yes. Yeah, depths I would say is a pretty nice transition from Maverick if you're looking to play a pretty fairish deck. The awkward thing here is that we have the crop rotation for Bojuka Bog if they go off, but of course only have this Bojuka Bog here. So in this spot, I think I would just wasteland them and try to go back a turn. Best case is drawing Moxed Diamond because it allows you to play the Bog and then hold up green with crop rotation, which allows you to go and get Echoing Deeps if you do need to go for the Bog line. But Cephalid can be a tough matchup. I find that having the crop with Bog can really save some face. But just like on Mav, the opening turns of like turn 1 Nomads, turn 2 Cephalid with any sort of protection is just horrifying.
yeah.
How do you find the Nadu matchup? Actually, how did you find Nadu in Mav when you were playing it?
It was decent. The Lightning Greaves were a bit clunky, and Mother of Ruins, which is good support for Nadu, I don't think is at its best in the format right now, especially because like Eldrazi doesn't care about that card at all. Their stuff colorless. But the when you go off, it's really good. I don't know if it's worth playing cards like Lightning Greaves for though.
Yeah. And this is the exact situation we talked about, where like holding up crop there, sadly, I guess you could crop for Talon. No. Yeah, you could crop for, no, you can't actually. No, because if you crop for Talon, you would have to take out the Nomads in response to the Cephalid, but then they have the Shuko anyway. So I don't think that Talon would save us.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, really tough. I am happy to see less days in these decks, typically just the forces, because, yeah, the turn 1 Nomad, turn 2 Cephalid, or turn 1 Shuko with days backup is really tough. But I'm actually happy to concede this league and get to Mav. Sorry, we want to drop. There we go. Nice. All right. Legacy with Harry Hackett. Nice. Play points. There we go. We're back. Yeah, the Nadu build was really cool. And it's always interesting to see people play Bant and then see what other blue cards they play. All right, on the play, which is really nice. And up against a Yorion deck, so I'm going to assume D&T. How do you feel about, yeah, a hand like this that has some mana acceleration into threats?
I think this is a decent hand. There's a turn 2 Barrowgoyf. If they have a removal spell for a mana dork, we still have another one. Against Yorion, it's probably a fair deck. So I'd keep this.
Nice. Yeah, I really like that if they remove a turn 1 mana dork, we have a turn 2 mana dork and then potentially a Surveil land as well, just to make sure we're drawing kind of live off the top.
Right. And you want to lead on Misty because that's the one fetch in the deck that doesn't fetch the Surveillant.
Yeah, perfect. I would probably go Savannah into Ignoble.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Turns on all colors, which is nice. And then, yeah, if we get the Hierarch removed, we have the Verdant to go and get the black source. D&T can be pretty tough. I find, especially with like the turn 1 Mum, turn 2 Stoneforge into Caldra, those really fast starts can be pretty brutal.
Yeah, and it's hard to just keep up with the value in the deck too.
Yeah. Interesting decision here. We have either just a turn 2 Barrowgoyf or just go hard on the mana.
I think we want to get this Barrowgoyf out.
Yeah.
If they have a removal spell, we have another one.
Pretty happy to get Bayou and then Barrow, giving us double black in case they get rid of the Ignobled.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barrow, like milling as well, is quite cool in this deck because it feeds Grist, it feeds Knight, it feeds Fiend Artisan. There's a lot of ways to, get some extra value, which is cool. Blue. Okay. Potentially, just a... Now I'm trying to think. Potentially like a like Esper Vial.
Yeah, I think there was a Jeskai Vial that did well in a big tournament recently too.
Yes. Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. I think potentially moving towards like the Nobles and then getting the Power Stealer down if they play a threat next turn. Or the Barrow.
Yeah, I think Nobles look good.
Yeah. The other thought is Green Suns for Scryb Ranger to like unlock our mana.
I think we want to save it for something better.
Especially if they are, say, Jeskai control or some sort of control deck. Having like Green Suns for Teeg is really nice.
Yeah.
I'm thankful we didn't keep a hand where like Wasteland was kind of the reason to keep it. Obviously because they opened up on basics, but yeah, this makes me definitely think they're on some sort of ETB Gilded Drake. Okay. Yeah, a lot of sort of value orientated deck.
This is gross. They're just going to steal all our creatures.
Ah, wow. Okay. So this is whenever it attacks, exile up to one other target non-land permanent. At the beginning of your next end step, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Under its owner's control, because we are we're not the owner, we're just the controller. So it goes under their control.
Yeah.
And then they just keep... Okay. That's pretty cool. That's actually pretty tough. Yeah, now it's a little bit tricky if we don't draw a land here, because we could try to jailer this, but...
It's a pretty bad spot.
Yeah, especially if they keep taking us up. I love this for our opponent. Like, that is exactly what you're wanting to do with these two cards. But
It's definitely a sweet combo.
yeah, I'm nearly afraid to put anything on the field. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much we can do from this spot.
Like, We could, like, to make use of our mana, we could Green Suns for Scryb and then have 2 mana left to recast or to cast the Fiend Artisan. But then I don't really want them getting the Fiend Artisan when they have both spare creatures and creatures that produce mana to really go and get anything they want. But I do like the Green Suns for Scryb. At least it allows us to maybe turn on Jailer the following turn to turn this off.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best line.
But it is pretty scary. Have you played against this?
No, not against. Well, I played against Esper Vial. It's definitely a pretty awful matchup. Because of things like this.
Yeah, I do find that just a lot of the value of their creatures is really tough because, especially when they're targets for other spells, you want to be able to remove them with your removal, but that's typically a 1-for-1 trade where they've already gained some advantage off it, so it's typically a 1-for-2. So you run out of gas really easily, and then they have it.
I think we just attack with the Drake and pass here.
Yeah, I was going to say the Fiend is somewhat free because I assume they flicker the Drake to keep that. Oh no, because they flicker the Drake and then take the Fiend. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Thankfully, they can't steal the. Yeah, that's very true. Maybe the play was to play the Fiends. They don't take the Ignoble Hierarch because they obviously can't take the Scryb Ranger thanks to Pro Blue. But yeah, I'm a little bit gobsmacked. I don't know what to. I've never been in this sort of position before.
Yeah, it's awkward because if they have Fiend, they have a million great creatures to target, and then they have green mana off the nobles. So I don't think we want to let them have that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very happy to have the okay. Happy to have the Hushbringer in the board.
This game's over.
Yeah. Like Agent, I would assume they're a Recruiter of the Guard deck, but you never know.
Yeah, Agent's probably good.
Yeah, I think we can probably save time here. Pretty tough. It's tough as well because, like, as a legendary creature, typically Krakus is decent, but against that deck, obviously with the creature having flash as well, it can end up pretty poorly. In these sort of fair matchups, are there cuts that you go to straight away that you like to, make sideboarding a little bit easier?
Definitely take out Teeg. I don't think we need more than 1 endurance for this matchup.
Yeah.
Probably don't need Scryb Ranger. I'm not sure we want Outland Liberator. It hits Vial, but I doubt they're playing much besides that.
Yeah, that's fair. Having the decay is nice
and
as
we
well.
can bring in. Yeah, we can bring in Hushbringer, Phyrexian Revoker, or Easy Opposition Agent. Then Leovold could be decent.
Yeah, especially for the targeting.
Yeah. And then probably just a Path to Exile.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. Plague is nice, but I think they have such a wide variety of things that it just doesn't really do what you want it to.
I'm not even sure how many X1s they're playing either, so.
Yeah. And to have the Bowmasters as well is quite nice to try to clean up any of the board.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Birds of Paradise, or do you like having all Exalted Manadorks?
Exalted's big. Just turns all your Manadorks into threats.
Yeah.
I like birds in a deck with a Stoneforge package because you can throw equipment on it. But without that, I just like the Exalted.
Nice. Pretty easy mulligan in my regard. Like, the mana is what you really want to be making your land drops in this matchup and just like casting spells on curve, and this hand does not allow that. So unfortunate, but okay. Thoughts?
Oh, this is a keep. Send back the Wasteland, I'd say.
Yeah. I like that a lot. We know they have a lot of basics, so the chance of getting, double waste on them is pretty tough. Opponent's gone to 5, so we have a little bit of an edge, but I think here it's just going to be Bayou into Noble.
Yep.
What is the advantages of Hushbringer versus Doorkeeper?
So the reasoning behind it is the lifelink against Moonstompy.
Nice, yeah. I've definitely been in that position. I remember like Batterskulls against the 1/1s that have to attack also feels pretty great. I'm trying to think if the actual like dying part is relevant.
Well, it does make the Ajani in our own deck awkward because it turns off the cat dying ability.
Nice. It wouldn't be a Maverick deck without some dyssynergy. Yeah, I was thinking of like, say in Modern, like with we obviously have like Strangleroot Geist, but not so much here.
So here I think we play the Hushbringer and then hold up a Surveilland with the Windswept Teeth.
Nice. Yeah, I like this a lot. I'm not too sure what we want to go for yet with the Green Suns. Like potentially a Grist. But yeah, I also like not showing the Wasteland either. Just trying to hold it for as long as possible because they might get a Surveil land here themselves. I do really like how the Surveil lands have eased their way into Legacy. Seems like most decks are taking advantage of one.
Yeah, I think they make the gameplay better, help smooth out draws.
Yeah. There are some feel bads with like Blue Black Scam, but otherwise it's all pretty good.
Yeah.
There's been a few times where I've tried to add in a second one to Maverick, but you just start drawing it and it just gets a little bit awkward, especially like on curve.
Yeah.
The one thing a player does need to consider with cards like Hushbringer or Doorkeeper Thrall is that the elementals are free. So I've definitely played this against, I think it was Painter in response to like a Goblin Welder potentially, and obviously like Fury. But then they just evoke the Fury to get a 4/4 or 3/3 double strike beater into play, which was pretty brutal.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I think we'd rather let them have a free 3/3 double strike than a free pyrokinesis. So
yeah, very true. I like this. I think paired with the Wasteland potentially taking off the blues quite nice.
Yeah.
And also somewhat removal.
Good. So I think here we Wasteland the Archive, and if they brainstorm in response, we can Bowmasters. And then if they don't, I think we want to Zenith for a Fiend Artisan here.
Nice. Okay. We still get to attack for 2. And then probably still go on the Fiend line.
Yeah, I think so. I think if they had removal, they probably would have used it by now. And then if we can untap with Fiend, we're in a pretty great spot.
Yeah. One thing to note is that we won't get an ETB trigger with the Bowmaster.
Right.
But that can definitely happen. It's a little bit like when you play like a Teeg against a like an Elves deck and you draw your own Green Suns, but knowing that like natural order is turned off is just a little bit better. Interesting. So this could be something to think about in combat, is that if they attack and get rid of this, we can then put in the Bowmaster, ping this, and then block with the token.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Wasteland's great here.
That's a nice pickup. Pretty lucky compared to the first game where they had basic. For them to have 2 non-basics is, yeah, exactly where we want to be. And as you said, like the lifelink of this, we're now at 22 and they're at 12. It's only turn 4, but it definitely adds up and adds kind of like a lightning helix effect to the matchup. Nice. This feels kind of dirty. Like they've done the work for us. Yeah, see that? Yeah, 100%. Nice. Very cool. I think they're like, obviously Wasteland's still great in 2024, especially when you have mana acceleration to cast your spells the same time that you're wastelanding. I don't know if anything really changes.
The only thing I'm thinking is that Thoughtseize might be decent. Maybe get rid of this Last Endurance. I don't think that's super relevant for this matchup.
Yeah. In the past for these sort of decks, I like having like a reach creature, but I think that having more like low to the ground and ways to trade a creature 1-for-1 that once it hits the field is most likely going to be a 2-for-1 against us is pretty nice. And then, you know, obviously also the added advantage of knowing sort of what to play around or what's coming.
Yeah, I think that looks good.
Nice. It's a great point by Curator as well that we can just race with our Barrowgoyfs and, you know, attackers in the air aren't as much of a risk with big life linkers. Okay. Pretty mana.
Up 7. It's a little awkward. I think it's still a keep though.
Yeah. I like that it doesn't miss on land drops and the onces can dig for actual threats or potentially removal in things like Bowmasters.
Yeah.
Nice. Pretty happy to just cast the ones without playing the land. I think we'd be pretty happy if it got dazed, just because we've kind of got everything we want.
Oh yeah, that'd be great for us.
Yeah, we have the mana sources, we have the mana acceleration, and we have the threat. So I think, yeah, I like the Bowmaster. They would know about it. It's always tricky though. I would assume that they'd be going for basics, especially if they saw the knight early on.
Yeah, I think it's just Bowmaster here.
Nice. And then probably double Black Source, Bayou into Ignobled.
I think I'd go for Savannah. We have enough fetches to get black sources later. This just gives us all our colors now, so theoretically if we top decked a Wasteland, we could play Wasteland and still have all our colors.
Nice. Love it. I'd love to know what 1-drops they're actually playing. Because what have we seen so far? Really just Swords to Plowshares. We haven't seen Vial. We haven't seen like Mother of Runes or Esper Sentinel, anything sort of a little bit left field like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even have any 1-drop creatures in their deck, just like Vial, Brainstorm, Ponder, Swords.
Yeah. This feels
tricky spot. So
I was gonna say it feels like the card we've been playing against all this time. The cat or the dog with Flash.
yeah. Right. I think maybe just hold up Bowmasters plus Surveillant. We could also Once Upon a Time with Surveillant too.
Yeah, I love that. My other thought was Barrowgoyf because then next turn you could probably double spell potentially, but I do like that. we're putting more
I
into
feel like
like
they have some kind of removal spell that I
Hmm.
want to walk Barrowgoyf into.
Yeah, especially when currently it's our only threat. Okay. Hmm. Cats alongside dogs. Okay. We don't have to do anything in response to this.
Yep, just let this resolve.
Ah, interesting. They're going to try to go wide. Okay.
I think we just Bowmasters here. Try and trade the orc for the dog.
Yeah, I was going to say potentially hit it and then also double block to play around like removal, but
Yeah, they do have one white open.
is a tricky spot.
Probably a good line.
Yeah, it's tough because like obviously trading, I guess it's sort of trading 1 for 1. And I think it can just get a little bit awkward if it goes too long. Oh, we also have next turn. I was going to say we can always Rallier it back, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Surveil lands I found in Maverick have been really nice. They're just having some sort of control over the top of the deck, and that's exactly what we want. So pretty happy to put that on top. I assume now it's Barrowgoyf hold up sword.
Yeah, I think so.
If we get a Bayou, we're pretty set across colors. I believe this was only in the Commander set. Is that true?
I think so, yeah, because it's not legal in Modern. So from Commander, I believe.
Yeah. Matt had a great point as well. The fetch lane could have been a Dryad Arbor, keeping us with the Orcish Bowmasters.
I think we'd rather have another land in play than the Bowmasters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tricky because the mana's great. Bowmaster in the bin isn't too bad. Do we get to... When it ETBs, exchange control of Gilded Drake. If you don't or can't make an exchange, sacrifice it. So
if we swords the Gilded Drake, I think we get to keep the Barrowgoyf.
I believe so as well. And I hope they don't have Ephemerate, because that is a card that I feel like they might have in their deck as like a one of. Oh. Opponent says judge, which is pretty funny. So, but yeah, I'm not too sure. If we have a judge in chat, that'd be very cool. Oh, good. Okay, there we go. Okay. Interesting. Just if you saw an Ajani in game 1, would that make you think towards like Plague Engineer on Cat? Or does that flip it straight away?
Yeah. It would flip Ajani, but it wouldn't do much once it's flipped because all it does is spit out 2/1 cats.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay. I was gonna say Wasteland here doesn't look too bad if we can find it with once, but also like the thought of putting a threat into play.
I think we want to go for a Fiend Artisan with Green Sun Zenith, and then just hold up Once Upon a Time.
Nice. If we hold up the fetch with Once Upon a Time as well, we can potentially get Dryad Arbor if the Fiend stays around, which is nice. Yeah, I feel like the Gilded Drake interaction is kind of like... Actually, it's not even like Mangara, because Mangara works in the way that you want it to work, in that if you cracks it, of course, then shenanigans. A late Vial, I'm not too worried about, which is nice. I'm actually happy to know it's not like an unknown card in their hand. Much more scared of them having 4 cards than 3 in a Vial. Have you played it all with the kind of like the modern energy deck, but it made it into Legacy with the Ajani's and I believe the 1 mana energy guy?
I've seen it. I haven't played it myself.
It looks cool.
I did have a bit of a brew. Like Nick Fit with Ajani. You go turn 1 Cabal Therapy, turn 2 Ajani, sack the cat, flip Ajani right away. It's pretty sick. But
Harry, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Where are we? Oh, it was in here somewhere, I swear. Ah, that was, yeah, something that I played and it was fantastic. Especially the Cabals. I believe here we will go for Dryad Arbor.
I think we want to cast once here.
Okay.
Just to be mana efficient, because
Yeah.
we're going to use a lot of mana on Fiend Artisan if we get the chance.
Yeah.
We won't.
That is very true. And seeing that we're getting, not having the Fiend Artisan around anymore. This all happens. This happens. We can get the other Savannah.
Now they're down to 1 card in hand. Yeah, Savannah.
A second threat will be great here. We find our own Ajani.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah. I was going to say the Wasteland, but we kind of have the Wasteland through the night anyway, so being able to double threat is pretty great. Oh, okay.
So I think here we just go with Johnny and Knight, and then Bowmasters could be good next turn to set up something in combat, killing a cat token, and then maybe attacking the Johnny Planeswalker on our turn.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. Especially not giving them the ability to actually use the Ajani in their turn. That's really nice.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing with Mav is just like, how many ways can you make your opponent do something where they probably didn't want to do it then or in the wrong turn, I guess, as well. Like even wastelanding a land to push something. I wonder if it's Solitude. If they have another white card and they just feel like they can't let the Knight untap.
You getting here?
Guide of Souls. Thank you, Stress Daddy. They might even go for the dog if they have an extra copy because it just enables so much off Vial, especially. Their companion is Yorion. Broadside Bombardiers. Okay, so they don't have a red source just yet. Okay. Hmm.
I think we want to just Zenith for Fiend Artisan here, and then hold up Bowmasters, hold up Knight of the Reliquary, see what they do on their turn.
Nice. Quick think. Yeah, I don't think just because we know they have Bombardiers, we probably don't need a Wasteland just yet.
Yeah.
Is there an attack here?
I don't think so because we don't want them to flip their Ajani if they can get Bombardiers out.
Yeah. Okay, you're into hand. Is there a world where we want to flip our own Ajani by hitting our own cat?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, another one.
Well, no. We can flip our Ajani on our turn with Fiend Artisan. Okay, so now they're trying to flip
Very true.
Ajani. So we could grab a Caracas
Yeah,
to stop them from flipping it.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Because allowing them to get an extra cat anyway with it would be pretty rough. Oh, there it is. Good. Turn this to hand, and then I think we're just going to cast the Bowmasters, take out the Recruiter.
Either the Recruiter or Cat token. They do have Yorion in hand. Yeah, probably Recruiter.
Nice. I'm just going to do it now so I can 6. Oh, Force. Pitching Yorion. Okay.
And they have Broadside and one other card in hand.
Correct.
I think Johnny, right? Or no? Yeah, we bounced to Johnny. So they have a Johnny Broadside in hand.
Correct.
And then their Vial's ticking to 3, so they can cast the Johnny Violin Broadside. We can Caracas the Johnny. So then we have 5 mana to use with Fiend Artisan. And they can do 5 damage by throwing the Recruiter at something.
We could get Renegade Rallier to then get back the Bowmaster to take out the Recruiter. If that makes the Bombardiers less.
That's a good line. How big is Barrowgoyf right now?
Barrow.
They have creature, land, instant.
I believe so. Instant creature land. 3/4.
Yeah, so that just dies to Broadside. So yeah, I think I like Rallier for Bowmasters, and we can sack our cat token, flip our Johnny.
Nice. That's just value. Leo is interesting, but I do like the thought of. Yeah,
You could also get Revoker named Vial.
Yeah. Which makes them have to get a red
Awkward if
source.
they draw a red source, but
I think in that case I do like the Rallier, the Bowmasters, and then in case they draw some sort of recursion effect to take out the Recruiter here.
yeah, hit Recruiter.
Nice. And then
And we can make a cat.
Nice. Hold up Dryad Arbor if we need it. And then we have Knight.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. These are the matchups that can really go to time, especially with two people. But they're fun.
Yeah.
I find these really interesting. Especially trying to find the ways where you can get the value that, you know, these cards kind of have written on them, but you have to kind of find it. Interesting. So here, I think just in response to this, we return.
Yeah. Where they have the chance to sacrifice a cat.
Interesting. I'm pretty happy to put the Rallier, or even like the token and the Rallier.
I'd say so. They don't have anything big enough to kill Knight, so I just put a Knight and an Orc army in front of it.
Nice. That makes a lot of sense. Gotta kill this. Oh, would they try to... We can fetch for Dryad Arbor and sack it?
Yeah, sack it to Knight. Yep.
Nice. Save the Fiend. See, even those little things, like earlier, I was going to get Dryad Arbor out of the deck. But here we don't even need to. Yeah, an opponent says GG's. I feel like that's just one of those spots where, like, the value of that is just quite hard to come back from. Like,
yeah,
this does allow you to potentially deal with the Fiend, but having the Dryad Arbor is pretty sweet. Nice. Harry, we're on the board. Hell yes.
We are.
Stream's
It's
cool.
a tough matchup too.
Yeah. Really cool to navigate it. All right. Nice. Do you have like a favorite matchup? If you were at Legacy and a friend came to you and said, do you want to play some games? What deck do you wish they had if you're on Maverick?
I always enjoy playing against the Tempo Reanimate decks. It's not an amazing matchup. I think we're slightly favored, but I enjoy that matchup.
I like lands. I think lands is pretty cool.
Lands is sweet because it's if you can get a Knight out, it's really good. It's always interesting games.
Yeah, it's cool when they have like the Punishing Fire, Bog lines, or they have the spot where like just big constructs are kind of making you, like putting the pressure on you other than Barret Lage through combat damage. That can be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I do love a questing beast as well. And when they have multiple mazes out thinking the coast is clear and you draw like green suns, it's no better feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, beast is cool. I haven't played with questing beast in a while.
I haven't either. Because this deck has Palace Jailer as the 4-drop. You don't really want 2 4-drops in the deck.
Yeah. But it's tough. It's always just sitting there in the MTGO inventory. Who would have thought? Who would have thought like Legacy would have picked up Questing Beast? Very cool to see. All right. On the draw. With a decent hand, a lot to do at 2 mana, and we have a Surveil land.
It's close. I'd say if they maul, we keep this. If they keep, I'm gonna look for something better.
Okay. Something with like a bit more of a plan, like turn 1 Mana
Yeah,
Acceleration turn 2.
because Scryb Ranger is kind of dead against a lot of decks, and it's really just Bowmasters and Abrupt Decay.
Yeah. And even saying that, like, Decay isn't the be-all end-all against, you know, the large majority of the format, so... Okay, a bit more of a plan, though, which is really nice.
Yeah, I like this. And what are we sending back?
I like the... It's tricky, because the greed in me wants to say, put back the Wasteland and find the land with once, but I
think I want to say Knight of the Reliquary. It's coming back.
Okay, yeah. Keep it a little bit more low to the ground.
Yeah.
Potentially our...
Just in case they have removal for a Mana Dork or a Wasteland.
Nice, yeah. Island Ponder. Okay. Doesn't give away too much. I'm not sure if, like, obviously Blue-Black Reanimator does play Island Swamp. I haven't seen many Delver... I haven't played against Delver in a long time, so I'm not sure if Delver even has the space for a basic in their sort of Grixis frog builds.
I think the Delver decks of the format are just Blue-Black Frog without the Entomb package, but just with Nethergoyfs and such. I don't know if people are actually still playing red cards in their Delver decks.
I'm going to play the land first just because we do want to try to hit our mana. That makes me want to get just Savannah, just turn on all colors.
Yep.
And then we have some options next turn, which is nice. Oh, Ajani with like a Cradle would be very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Bowmasters and Ajani are great with Cradle for making mana.
Okay, there's Frog. There's a
so
world...
here I think we...
You go first.
I think we want to play out the Wasteland, and then Bowmasters with Wasteland up in case they have days, and then waste the Underground Sea.
Nice, that's my line. Very cool. I like that it plays around days. It doesn't give them the ability to brainstorm in response, and then obviously taking them off the ability to like a Fatal Push or something like that is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Frog a little bit scary. Especially just like, you know,
Definitely.
discard a fatty, Black Source, reanimate.
Yeah.
Not too sure why these have started doing this in the graveyard, how the dual lands have started showing their mana symbols more prominently.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, Frog does make things scary, especially, yeah, discard's crazy. Hey Canister, a huge thank you for the raid. Welcome all from Canister's stream. Hope you're doing well. I'm Dukes on Twitch. This is Harry Hackett, aka Harry1232. We're currently playing Legacy Maverick against Blue-Black Reanimator. Canister, what did you just play and how did you go? Okay. So they have the Troll. This card's been really interesting as well. It has made it into a few lists. And it's not too hard to set up, especially with the Frog.
That card's really good. Just reanimating that and then it brings back something else is a great value play for them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the Orc's going to keep growing, which is nice. To have like a real threat on the field already. Okay, just a pass is nice. Like Wasteland here, I wouldn't mind seeing. And there we go. They chose not to use Ponder's ability, so they're not
So
shuffling.
I think we want to cast Ajani with Wasteland up for days and then waste.
Yeah.
And then that way they have to give the frog flying if they don't want to flip our Ajani.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Push. Okay. That's fair. I think we still want to attack for 4 and get pressure going. I don't think having the 3/3 back, especially when they have the ability to give the frog flying, is that great.
And we'd be happy to block with a cat token and flip our walker if they give us the chance.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the Ajani's pretty great at just kind of the bitter blossom effect of always just having a blocker each turn if it's unanswered.
Yeah.
But yeah, this card's cool. I don't like that you can chain them. I don't. I've definitely been in a position where they put like 2 in and then they had like the Archon with a lifelink counter.
Yeah, it's kind of gross. Troll with lifelink is kind of crazy too.
Yes.
Can't erase that.
At least I feel like they're still playing Anime Dead, so the Outland Liberator isn't dead, which is nice, and it works quite nicely against Anime Dead because you can destroy it before they get the creature back.
Right.
But it's probably not the hate bearer of choice against Blue-Black Reanimator.
No, I think it actually comes out on the sideboard too, because they usually board out Anime Deads.
Yeah, I think like the parts are great. Thoughtseize is always an interesting one.
Fairies.
Yeah, the fairies are fantastic, especially with Once Upon a Time as well, if you want to find them. I would love to see you win a game with maybe some fairy beats. That'd be pretty cool.
Done it before. I've killed Cephalid Breakfast with one fairy macabre that I cast.
Nice.
Attacked them 10 times with it.
That's cool. That's very cool. A little bit tilting as well. It's kind of like the Magus beats where like Sneak and Show just turn 1 Magus post board and you're like, oh, okay, I got 10 turns.
Yeah.
Interesting. So this turn they played a fetch land. They fetched for blue source. They attacked. They drew a card, and then they brainstormed. So maybe they have an Entomb too. Ah. Okay. I think they're not.
So this means they don't have any fatties in their hand because they could have discarded it and then got back the Fanatic.
Yeah, that's a great pickup. Okay. That's pretty nice. Play a land first, player on days.
So then we just attack with the cat and the orc, and then we can swords the frog.
Yeah. Nice. Do you want to do this now? just so they can't untap and potentially hold up a Brainstorm to dig. Okay. Interesting. So no big creature. Yeah, I find the Turbo Atraxa lines, or the Turbo Archon lines, I should say, quite hard because you can't deal with it Caracas. It's typically pretty hard to deal with it outside of Swords to Plowshares, and obviously that uses the stack, which can be a little bit tricky at times.
Yeah.
Are you happy to attack with all here?
So here I think, yeah, attack with all, and then second main Fiend Artisan probably.
Nice. I feel like sometimes as well, newer cards can get people where they don't read the full card. And so a block here might make sense as you just get to clear the board a little bit, but not knowing that it actually flips the Ajani.
Yeah.
Questing Beast, definitely a card that I have gotten people with. Like, you know, elves blocking with Progenitus. Yes, please. Yes. Not that that really happens anymore, but even like the Maze on Beast, I do like that as well. Yes. Yeah, my only thought was like if the only line we lose to is Animate Dead, do we play out the Liberator and hold it up? Or are we happy to play the Fiend, which would
So
be
they
pretty
have
big?
to have. So a couple turns ago, they didn't have anything to bring back via the Fanatic and the Frog, so it'd probably have to have Entomb plus specifically Animate Dead. In that scenario, Outland Liberator is best. I think in every other scenario, Fiend Artisan's good.
Yeah, I like that. Especially because they brainstormed and didn't use Entomb to shuffle. They also just played this from hand and put an Underground Sea into the bin, so they obviously don't have... Yeah, I think I really like your line of play Fiend.
The other thing is, even if they Entomb Archon, if we top deck a land, we can just Grist to kill it anyways by a Fiend Artisan, so...
Yeah, very true. Yeah, Grist is sweet. I find Grist in this matchup is quite good. Especially because it deals with the threat on the board and 6 around as well on ETB.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to have, like, they're at 6, we have 3, 3, and 3. So even like one blocker doesn't do it. Do you think Fiend would be too good if it could instant speed use?
Probably. You could do some crazy things with that.
Yeah. Especially with Scryb Ranger. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Mark, wasn't it you playing... I guess XJ's Exploding Kittens D&T is probably pretty close, but I get the joke and I like the joke, so I haven't, but maybe Harry has.
I've tried a Naya version. I think Maverick is not the best shell for Johnny Bombardiers. But I think the deck's decent, and you get to play Moloch and Red Blasts. The only thing is, besides Johnny, there's not a whole lot of stuff I want to sack to Bombardiers and Maverick.
This is fine as well because we just have the Liberator to get rid of this.
Yeah.
No, oh, do they have the discard as well? No. Okay. So they didn't sort of top deck a threat there, which is nice. Okay. So I think we just, yeah. Liberator. They have 2 cards left. Interesting. Is there another way? No. I think now we just pass back.
Should we just pass here?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have the life blinker. We don't want to attack into that.
They kept a card on top. Okay, and they can draw it with the frog. Push. Does make the Fiend a little bigger. They're at 6. So close. There's the land to go and get Grist.
Right. So if we sack that token, flip Ajani, we have a 3/3 to attack with. Then we can grist the Fanatic. Also just attack with the Fiend Artisan and play Barrowgoyf.
Hmm.
I think I like getting grist here.
Yeah. Go to 12. Probably to get the Savannah. That's 2 white sources. Get rid of the cat. Flip the Ajani. Get another cat. Grist. Nice.
You can make a cat and sack it.
Nice. It's kind of nice here as well, having both planeswalkers, so the frog can't deal with obviously both of them.
Yeah.
And then we also, if this gets through, we have 2 threats for lethal.
And now their
Oof.
reanimates are dead too. Oh, Metamorphosis.
Troll.
This can get back.
Oof.
Oh, geez. So it's another Fanatic and a Troll.
Okay. Which kind of makes combat math a little bit difficult. I'm trying to think if like Renegade Rallier off the Fiend Artisan, getting back the Orcish Bowmasters can get us in a position, but I don't think it can. Yeah, the synergy with Ajani and Grist is really nice because you don't actually really lose any cards. And they do. So
Yeah.
it takes a bit of setup, but it is a 0 for 1, correct?
Yeah.
Token, yeah, nice. Look at that. Okay, so they take out the grist. Does make the fiend bigger. We don't have the ability to get a red thing into play. Can't give pro. Maybe there's a world where we should make a cat and then get a Scryb Ranger to turn off the frog and then just have big creatures that might just be bigger than these creatures here.
We could also play Barrowgoyf, which is good against both of the fanatics. It could be good on attack next turn.
Yes, because we wouldn't have the mana to do both Barrow and one off. Sadly, we can't Rallier for Grist because Rallier is 2 CMC or below. I do like Barrow.
And yeah, and that lets us leave up Fiend Artisan as a blocker too.
Yeah. I wonder if they pump into the frog, give it flying just to kill the Ajani. Okay, land, troll.
So here we can cycle Peatland.
Yeah, I don't mind that. The other thought is the shadowy.
I think we'd rather have
A
two
card?
random cards than a card on the surveil.
Noble. Not irrelevant. Okay.
So how big is this Barrowgoyf?
Currently a 5/6.
5/6. So if we play Noble and attack with Barrowgoyf, we're guaranteed to take out 2 creatures. Because they can't just block with Troll.
Yes, and we have instant. They can take out
Although,
sorcery.
is there anything in theory? Okay, so we don't have a sorcery. So that would then it would die to Troll. So we don't want to do that.
Is there a world we just want to try to chain Bowmasters and make them have to attack or feel like they have to attack?
I don't think so. I think right now I'm thinking about Scryb Ranger or Keen-Eyed Curator. I kind of like Curator because they're not attacking with this troll. So that's not gaining them life. And then Curator turns off any more reanimates and turns into a threat on its own.
Yeah.
So I think I like Dryad Arbor and sack a cat for a Keen-Eyed Curator.
Yeah. The other thought was potentially Scryb because you also have the blocker in Dryad Arbor, which they might not take into consideration with lifelink. Like it's 4 less life they get on if they swing.
Yeah, the only thing is that if they are attacking, it's probably with a troll, which we'd have to block with 3 creatures anyways.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I'll play the Noble first. Oh, actually, I didn't need to play the Noble. Sorry. We wanted to keep the mana up for the Keen-Eyed.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, probably now that we don't have a mana up, I'd go for Scryb just to block the frog. Don't want him to draw more cards.
that's how I get my way. Misplay, get your way. And we can actually now just untap the Fiend.
Well, no, we played the Dryad Arbor, right? So we don't need to. Not a big deal, but
We could do it, yeah, on our turn. Still no great attacks. But yeah, I feel like sometimes blue players don't understand combat too much, so potentially Dryad Arbor can get us there. That's true. Scryb Ranger with Exalted is also something to think about here.
yeah, that's 2 damage, and then we can get a Bowmasters if they don't have anything.
Yeah,
So
or
we
just
can
get an
attack with Scryb.
And then yeah, I was gonna think of another Exalted creature, but I think yeah, Bowmasters is pretty perfect. Can't block. Wow. I feel like we stole this.
And probably sack the army.
Yeah. Nice. 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 There we go. Look at that. Like honestly, to come back from that is very cool. Yes. Nice. Honestly, the turn where they dazed to turn off the Outland Liberator, I thought that was the snowball and that was where it was going to go downhill. But they didn't have a Harry, so joke's on them. Cool. I think we discussed the fairies and the parts as nice ways to either stop big creatures from coming into play or just dealing with threats on the field once they come into play.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume
we can take out Teeg, Outland Liberator.
Yep.
I don't mind trimming a knight in this matchup just because the scariest thing they can do is a fast Entomb Reanimate, and knight's kind of slow against that.
Yeah.
And then one more card. Let's see, we're in the draw. Oh, Ajani's not that great in this matchup.
Yeah. Nice. Any thoughts for Leo?
The problem with Leovold is that he doesn't stop the Entomb Reanimate combo. He's kind of slow to set up for turning off their cantrips, and they do go after our mana dorks. So if we have him in hand, he can be awkward to cast. So I think we're leaving him on the board here, especially on the draw.
Yep, that's great reasoning. I am, yeah, nice. Very happy with that. I think these sort of matchups, especially on the draw, like 3 lands, mana dork, removal spell is like perfect 5. Like a threat at 6 is perfect, and then like 1 random card. But like just the ability to like get your mana down, maybe do something a little bit unfair in accelerating mana, like potentially having like fairy swords, 3 mana, noble, and threat is like perfect. But it can be tough when they are a Thoughtseize deck as well. Oof. Nice. That was cool. I felt like, yeah, it was nice to see Fiend and Barrowgoyf just keep them from attacking at all. And obviously they just didn't think that if I don't attack, I'm just going to lose to this Scryb Ranger in the air, either through Exalted or through a Bowmaster ping.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, especially if they're holding counter magic as like I can answer anything, but then your activated abilities are your way to get there. That can be, yeah, a really nice way to steal a win. Pretty similar for what I asked for. Like early removal, potentially fairy, Bowmaster.
Yeah, I think this is a keep.
Do you have any thoughts on lands to play early on?
Well, first we want to see what we had once upon a time, assuming there's no one drop. It's Fetch Land for Surveil Land.
Okay.
So there's Noble.
Yeah. I like fetch first, then once, and then most likely Bayou to turn on all colors.
The Rallier is fine here. If they force Bowmasters, we can just get it back.
Yeah, I like that a lot. This is where it's a little bit tricky if they have the Entomb.
Yeah.
Like, some part of me is like, just hold up path, but I think just like, if they don't have it, it's such a feel bad, and it's such a massive tempo swing as well to not have that turn on play. Interesting. Does this tell you much? Obviously, they don't have a frog, or they might not want to play a frog without some sort of protection.
It looks like they're just digging. They could put a Fanatic on top, but they don't have anything to get back with it, so...
Yeah, like, it would be kind of cool if they went like Surveil Land, one in the graveyard, one on top, and then untap, and then Miracle.
Yeah.
But I assume that maybe they just wanted to brainstorm an out turn, but they want to play around Bowmasters. So it could just be brainstorm now, play a fetch and pass.
I think that's most likely a scenario.
I think next turn, it's probably just Windswept, hold up Surveil Land, and hold up Bowmaster. Or potentially just play the Bowmaster.
They probably
Needle.
Pithing Needle. That's interesting.
Maybe Fiend Artisan? Fairy Macabre. Okay. We do have Abrupt Decay for that. Oh, I do like the Wasteland.
Okay.
I like what we did last turn. We just played the Bowmaster and then Wasteland after.
Yeah, that looks great.
The really subtle thing and nice thing about the island is that it means they can't entomb and reanimate in the same turn.
Mm-hmm. Thing about naming Fairy Macabre is they are probably trying to set up some kind of entomb reanimate thing here if that's what they're naming.
Interesting. Which means that off the flooded strand, they'll have to get a dual land.
So we can attack with the Orc army, see if they do anything. If they fetch a non-basic, we can rally or waste it.
Could also just cast the Fairy Macabre as a flyer.
Yeah. That seems reasonable.
I'm trying to think if we get punished by not holding up path for a creature, but I feel like a lot of their creatures aren't something that takes advantage of like us having our guard down
I
in a
mean,
way.
Yeah, we can untap and cast Path against any other threats.
Hmm.
I think I just like Peatland Fairy here.
Yeah, nice. I like saving the Windswept to turn on the Rallier. And obviously this just means that next turn the Rallier plays around Daze as well, which is kind of nice.
Yep.
But yeah, thankfully in this, like right here, Archon, which is probably the worst. Like Atrax is good, but isn't the be all end all.
Now they're down to
That's
8 too. So if we can
yeah,
get this pass through, they're pretty low.
There's the Thoughtseize, which is tough. I guess that's one small reason, but puts him down to 6. We've shuffled once, and we saw the Caracas with the Once Upon a Time, so it could be anywhere. They chose... Okay, so they did take Thoughtseize. Entomb. Oh, they play a frog. Interesting. Wow. So they still have Thoughtseize, Entomb. They got rid of the Archon, the Troll. This. Okay. I think we just want to try to path now.
Yeah.
Force.
So they have Entomb and Anime Dead, so I think we want to rally or Wasteland and just hope they don't have another black source.
Yes. Or hold up endurance.
Um, I don't think pitching Endurance here is a winning line.
Oh,
Because then we don't have any cards left in hand.
but we have 3 mana. So we can hold up endurance.
Yeah.
Because I assume they might try to discard with the frog and then animate dead if we do take them off the
Yeah, I guess
second black.
Endurance.
But it's
Hold up Endurance probably the best line.
yeah, it's tough with the Atraxa. And to be fair as well, they they didn't have they had the blue card and the force before the Atraxa trigger went on the stack, so holding up the path wouldn't have done anything.
Wait till they actually commit to casting the Fanatic before we Endurance them.
Smart, yes. Especially because just in case they also have something else to discard, that'd be pretty brutal. Nice. I should probably exile in response to give flying. No. Okay. Cool. Interesting. Do we
The
want
frog
to?
flying.
Yeah, they
We
didn't.
can block the frog.
Yeah, I assume we go endurance. They have 4 cards, so it can become a 6.
Chomp the frog with the army here.
Yeah. Has to be a Caracas. I think Caracas is probably our best bet. Maybe. One, two, three, four. So next time we would have 4 for Grist. We could also try to draw here to draw a swords or a path.
Pass. Go for next turn, Palace Jailer Atraxa, and we have 2 blockers for Psychic Frog. Send Fairy Macabre.
Nice. I like that. Okay.
Right here is probably just conceding, so we have time for game 3.
Yeah. I think it's, yeah, pretty tough. The needle's very interesting, but I don't think changes too much. Thought seizures can be a little bit rough if they come late and they've already kind of established the board.
I don't think Thoughtseize is too great against this deck. They have pretty individually powerful cards.
Yeah, that's very true. Probably just running it back. With probably, yeah, at a pretty aggressive game plan. Is there anything you change on the play?
Liberator though, because they
It could be nice to have.
did have Animate Dead still in, and they showed us Pithing Needle.
Yeah.
And then trimming the second night, honestly.
Yeah. Nice. Like, I think, yeah, honestly, like, Knight can be a decent beater. It can find Caracas, but I feel like if you want to try to put them in a spot where you can't, you actually answer the Atraxa in the bin, not on the field. Especially when Atraxa probably gets them a scenario where they can discard the Atraxa again and then reanimate it again. A little less appealing when they're getting, yeah, a fresh hand off each set. All right. Pretty sweet hand.
Keep. We can get a turn 2 Curator.
Yeah, nice for Graveyard Hate. Probably the same of just like Savannah. Turn on all colors. Okay. I think we just hold up Surveil End. If they frog, we probably want to swords. Hold the path for actually a big creature. A green zone off the top would be cool. Any sort of threat, especially a 3-mana threat, so we could hold up a removal spell as well. Not the threat I'm after, I don't think.
This goes to the bin just because we have removal for frog already.
Yeah, very true. Okay. That's pretty sweet. Force. Interesting. Guess that means they don't have a great way to answer it just yet. Or that.
That's rough.
Pretty happy to play into days here. Okay. Attack the Grist.
Dryad Arbor is a 2/2 attacker.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I don't think they'll trade the insect here. I think they'll just keep going wide. Yeah, the animation on Grist is always really tough. Pretty big battle to face. Especially when a lot of your creatures, if not all of them, don't have trample. That's where the Curator can be pretty nice. Yeah, QB would be cool. Ah, sorry, I skipped the turn. That's a tough one. Sorry.
I don't think we're winning this one anyways.
Yeah, it's pretty tough because we have to deal with the Grist. They have 2 minutes 50 to win the game. They have some pretty decent blockers. They've set up a nice reanimation target in the Troll. Hmm. Tough. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quickly. I'm going to bring up the deck list. If anyone has any questions for Harry, I will be back in a second.
As well.
Harry's gone. Nice. A huge thank you to everyone who came in and watched so far. This, of course, is going to be a 7 co-stream event. We have Jono Yannick coming up. Currently it's 1 a.m. So Jono is on at 9 a.m. So in 8 hours with Depths. We then have Hello Newton at 12, and then Connery tomorrow night on Maverick at 8 p.m. I believe. And then from there we have 10:30. I'm gonna say Mark, maybe 9:30. And then Tony Murata Interplay with some Cloud Post, and then to finish it off Sunday night 8:30 or 8:15. Michael Mapson Depths, which would be pretty cool. Nice. Okay. Look, pretty. I think how a typical blue-black deck or matchup kind of finishes sometimes. A little bit unfair, but yeah, it can be a little bit tough at times. You just don't have the control over the top of the deck like you sometimes did with Sylvan Library. But I have seen some people talking about Library coming back and enjoying it. Have you played much with Sylvan Library?
Sylvan Library is good right now.
You like it? Do you find that there's not many orcs running around because it doesn't really answer?
There's definitely less orcs.
Yeah, especially decks that play it as well. I'm finding, other than blue-black, there's not too many black decks running around. I've always really enjoyed 2 Library, but I could see the world where there's just the space for 1, because it does get a little bit tricky in like where you play it, and sometimes it's the silver bullets that have to be cut down a little bit to make room. I would call this hand a 6, but a pretty decent 6 in that it has interaction in Bowmaster, Endurance and Wasteland. And then we obviously have mana acceleration as well, which is nice. So I feel like he was doing the classic Savannah ignobled hold up Bowmaster Wasteland. For a deck list with only two Bowmasters, this has been happening a fair bit, which is nice. I kind of like it. I will say as well, so far, there hasn't been like a situation where I've really wanted the plains or the scrubland, which is just nice to think about as someone who typically plays with both. The Surveil land's been doing a lot of work.
This is good against Moon. Scrubland, I'm not a huge fan of without Mother of Runes in the deck, because you don't really need white mana turn 1.
Yeah, that's a great point. Interesting. Okay. I would love to draw another Mana Dork here and just Wasteland Accelerate, but otherwise, I think we're just going to be trying to play the Bowmaster here at sorcery speed.
Yeah, I think so. And if they daze this, we have Barrowgoyf next turn, and we have green card plus endurance for any reanimation.
Yeah. The Fatal Push on the Orc makes me think they have days, but it's going to be a force. Because typically it's like, hey, I want to cut off their mana so this days is relevant next turn or maybe the turn after.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting to see them go after our mana pretty early on. And no Wasteland either. Like maybe Wasteland is the other side of things, but... Volk. Okay. And they didn't have a daze last turn, so I'm leaning towards just endurance now.
I think we want to get this Barrowgoyf down. It's out of bolt range. It's gonna be really hard for them to deal with.
Yeah. Is a thought here of play the Wasteland, because if they have Wasteland, they might go after our white source, which they don't know we have another one here. The downside of playing the Wasteland is if we tap off it and they Wasteland us.
I'd play Karakas and don't let them know we have a wasteland.
Yeah. Okay. And that way we can also maybe get some more information about what sort of spells they have, or if they have like another Volk or another Underground Sea, we know which color to take them off.
Right.
I wonder if they run Unholy Heat or if it's just like bolts and fatal pushes. If push is the, or if Unholy Heat's spot is where you fit fatal push.
I imagine their main removal is push with probably a couple bolts in there.
Interesting.
So here we just attack with a Goyf, I think.
Yeah. I was going to say you could take them off like a duel, but I don't want to turn on fatal push before we even get in. Nice. Okay. I think here I do like Wasteland on the Underground Sea, just in case they draw a fetch land or like draw a fatal push.
Yeah, I think I'd waste them on their upkeep and then cast Endurance.
Nice. Okay, they float the black. They have the push. They put a Daze in the bin. Hopefully thinking it's too late and not having another Daze in hand. Now we get to... Nice. I mean, even something like keeping a Murktide off the field this turn is pretty huge. I think here as well with their life total, we're pretty happy just to play the Noble and attack.
Well, I think we might want to decay the Channeler.
Okay.
Just so they don't have the card selection.
Yeah. I think that's one like level up I can definitely work on, is just really understanding how much of a threat DRC is in terms of its ability to like look one deeper or just have that a bit more control over what they're drawing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're in a pretty great position, like exactly where we want to be on Maverick. Like to be turn 5 and have a Jailer that potentially could come down and take out their only threat is, yeah, pretty great. Interesting. Why would they go after the Dryad Arbor there instead of one of our colors?
It's one less damage, slows their clock down. It's the only reason I can think of.
Yeah.
I would have hit Bayou if I were them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure, like, maybe they run, like, a main deck, like, Sheoldred's Edict or something. Okay. I kind of like the idea of just Noble, and then if they play a creature, we have Jailer. If they don't, we have Green Suns potentially for Ramanap to get back Wasteland and Wasteland them.
Yeah, I'd go Noble here.
I could think Cradle, that's very true. Maybe they aren't too familiar with Maverick and think we're some sort of like natural order deck. In versions of Mav that don't play Mother of Runes, do you ever think of Safekeeper as a Green Suns target? Or do you find that Maverick's like mana base isn't really built in a way that you can like make that trade early on?
Yeah, hurting land, taking sacking lands is pretty rough. It's good against decks where one card will turn off their whole deck and you're fine sacking land, but against like Delver, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. I have 3 cards. I think it might just be Green Suns for Fiend. Plays around days and puts a big threat.
I'd go for Green Suns for Knight. If they daze it, that's fine. That's a daze they don't have for Palace Jailer next turn.
Nice. Weasel it out. Yeah, Miracle Meta, I could definitely see it. Or if you want to have like some protection for like Teeg against like Storm decks or potentially even Eldrazi. Like it seems like Eldrazi has a tough time dealing with Teeg once it's on the field. Like some run a Karakas in the deck. Some probably run Dismembers in the sideboard. This is an interesting one
So
because
against Delver, you just want the paths, I think.
yeah, probably again the Teeg out
And take out
and the
Teague and
Liberator.
Liberator.
Yeah. Do you ever think about Engineer?
Um, it's pretty slow. I'd only bring it in on the play, and they haven't shown us Delver of Secrets yet. They're probably playing Delver, but they might just be on Darcy, Frog, Murktide. So I would not bring it in here.
Yeah. Nice. And I think that in the off chance they do have an X1 DRC, having access to Bowmaster also feels a nice kind of role there.
Yeah.
Okay. The mana here isn't great, but the forest is kind of nice with double Hierarch. But it's a little bit tricky. Like,
I
if they
think
have...
I'm sending this back. There's no threats we have that we can cast and no removal.
Yeah, exactly. And if they go like, you know, DRC into Frog, then this hand just doesn't really match any of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, going to 5.
Yeah, I think card quality over quantity is pretty huge here.
This is a solid 5.
Yeah.
Send back Jailer and an Endurance.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, like this allows us to like hold up once, or potentially once for a mana dork.
Yeah, I think we want to look for a dork here.
The small thing is that I would like to play the forest into once to play around days if we're looking for a dork, but I'd also like to hold up Surveil land for Bowmaster.
I'd be fine with once getting dazed because we don't have that many actual cards. So I'd rather have a daze used on our once than a threat.
Yeah, that's actually a great way to put it. Okay.
And Fiend Artisan's good here, I think.
Yeah, especially if they start dealing with our threats early on. It probably won't work out for us, but it's kind of nice that Bowmaster plus Cradle is a free artisan.
Yep. And here we can get a Surveillance.
Nice. Perfect. Is it greedy to path at like end of draw step?
I just path now.
Yeah. It's really tough as well because they probably know that if they force this path, they're going to untap with the frog. They're going to draw a card off the frog. So it's really just a 1-for-1 trade. And then it only gets better from there. Oh, they're actually playing no
They
basics
didn't
either.
have a basic either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless they have it in hand. But I would assume that the mana base just doesn't support a basic.
That's pretty rough.
Oh, but no follow-up from them is pretty huge. Nice. Okay. I don't think we're at a stage yet where we need to, like, pitch the endurance.
No.
Okay. Pretty reactive hand from them, which is nice. Okay. I mean, the Cradle not doing too much either, so as a wasteland target, it's not the best. Interesting. I'm kind of thinking of just passing here with Bowmaster up.
Yeah, I think so.
Can get... I guess this is one spot where Scrubland would be cool, because you then have Swords and Bowmaster, but it's a DRC.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth throwing away both of these cards.
I don't think so.
Yeah. There's 1 days. Okay. Interesting.
So I think we play Fiend first, and then if they daze swords, that's fine. In fact, they can't daze swords if we resolve Fiend Artisan because I'm have Cradle. So
Yes, thankfully. No push is great. Molten Collapse. Okay.
so
Let
now
them
we
surveil
swords for their own
first.
daze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Works out nicely as well that they can't Murktide this turn as well. So honestly, a land or a spell off the top's pretty great for us. Wasteland's probably the best. Take them off the red. It's also Dryad Arbor. Yeah. Nice. I do think Endurance has been one of the best printings for Mav because it's great against combo. It's great against Delver. It's decent against some of the control matchups where you just have a flash 3/4.
Yeah, it's nice against a lot of stuff.
I think here, we probably want to keep this as, instead of getting Dryad Arbor, it's either the black source or the white source in the deck.
Yeah, I'd hold on to it. Also lets us use Rallier if we draw that or Zenith.
Yes, of course. There we go. Yeah, sadly, Endurance isn't as great against Frog. That's very true. I would laugh if they were holding a sack effect and waiting for us to crack for Dryad Arbor and you just play it out. But yeah, honestly, like turn 8, they've played 2 creatures. I guess Murktide's a little bit tricky to play, but yeah, quite happy for them not to really.
There was a spot where they had mana for it to play as a 5/5 and they didn't.
Yes. Wow, this is going to get a Burrow into play. Yeah, I'm not too sure what's in their hand. Yeah, like counter magic. Maybe just more lands. Maybe they're holding a few lands to try to hit a brainstorm. Full mana. Okay. Crest. It's pretty good. I really don't want to use the swords on the borrower, but we might have to. I think that's like one thing I can work on as well is like, don't always think about the worst thing they could have. Just like play the board and like, sure, borrower isn't one of the most threatening things to swords, but if it is their only threat and it is threatening your life, then you should just deal with it. And then if they play another threat, find something for that down the line.
I think if they had another threat, they would have played it by now. So I'd probably just go for the swords here.
Yeah, it looks like they're really digging. And I'd rather not take 3. Like if they have a threat, they can play it second main, so. If they force this, it says a lot. Red. Days. Ah, they have a Murktide. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4. We can fetch and fail to find. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll take 10, go to 4. Is there a big
I think we fail to find here.
It's like just 2 prices. Oh my gosh, that's what they had. That is funny. That is hilarious. Running it back, really no changes.
Yeah, send it back.
Double price. What is this? Yeah, price is an interesting one. Especially against Nadu, I find. In paper, I tried it out. And it can get people, but a lot of the time as well, if they're getting that many lands in play, they're probably hitting things like Force of Will as well to put into their hand.
You'd have a Safekeeper as well. Sack all the non-basics.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. Damn it, yeah. It's pretty nice. Like Barrowgoyf is pretty good against price progress. Like just get too high.
Yeah.
I really hope that we get to Ajani Ultimate this stream. Tricky. These are the hands I keep and they have like the term on Wasteland or just on your land, and then you're like, well, probably not doing a whole lot here.
Keep this.
Yeah?
If we top deck another mana source, we'll be fine.
Yeah. I think we lead on the Bayou. Just so we can cast the Ajani.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Yeah, leading on Wasteland's always interesting. Decay's nice.
All with that is that it lets us know that our mana's bad.
Yeah.
And now we're in a good spot, because if they daze this, we can slam a 3-drop next turn.
Wow. I kind of hope this force pitching a frog is just them wanting to play another frog. They could be thinking about like hold up swords turn 1. Okay. The Bauble's great for the Barrowgoyf. Is there a thought here on leading on the most like non-appealing 3-drop? Like
I
Knight?
think I'd just go for the Barrowgoyf because they didn't daze last turn. They forced.
Yeah.
And if they have a second force, I'd be happy to him them here.
Yeah. I like that reasoning. You'd think that's how it works out sometimes, Harry, but next turn's definitely interesting. The graveyard isn't too heavy, and if we draw another land, like a fetch land, knowing that we have 2 sources for the swords is quite nice.
I don't hate playing a mana dork and holding up swords here.
Yeah, I love that as well. We're not really under any pressure. It gives us the ability potentially to untap and play a 3-drop around days. The small thing here is wanting to untap and decay the DRC and wanting to keep the sword most likely for Merc, but
I don't think we have to use swords yet.
yeah. Okay.
I think now we do probably swords because I didn't Murktide there.
Hmm.
Oh, I guess we're probably swordsing. Well, yeah, the Goyf.
Yeah.
Although no, we can swords. Swords. That's fine.
My thought for the DRC is that we do have the endurance somewhat.
Yeah, although endurance turns off Goyf too.
Very true. Yeah.
And Darcy surveils. So yeah,
I thought
endurance is good. We could also play Knight, and then we have better mana for next turn.
yes. My only thought on the Knight was getting it down as a 4/4, but then if we're finding the land, I guess that like the Knight's less relevant because the Knight was kind of there to make use of it. Okay.
we can get Scryb Ranger here.
Sadly, the cage.
Oh no, Cage, yes. So probably just Knight then set up Abrupt Decay next turn.
Yeah. Nice. I don't think there's a great attack here either. I think just because we're lower on life as well. A little bit too risky.
If they attack with Frog, though, we can block with Endurance, and then if they dump their hand into it, we can decay it on our turn.
Nice, yeah. They most likely don't have Bolt in hand, which is nice. Because I think if they have Bolt, they probably bolt the Knight in upkeep to trigger the DRC before draw.
Yeah.
It's a force. I guess they can give flying, but I mean, honestly, is there a world here where we just pitch the endure? Like if we're no, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking for a second that the endurance. Yeah, this is fine.
So now we just take 4 and then decay it on our turn.
Yeah, this is really nice. Like it has to be a removal spell for the night here, and it's not. Okay. Green. Fetch. Fetch. Bayou. Hmm. Yep. Definitely
for 5 here.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy to attack here as well, especially with them. They're so low on cards. The Wasteland's definitely interesting. Like maybe by playing the Noble, I'm happy to Wasteland.
I think we want to keep Wasteland so we can pay for days on this Endurance.
Yeah. Nice. Very cool. I feel pretty happy about Delver these days. A lot happier than Blue Black, just because of the like out the back Entomb lines.
Yeah.
It just seems a little bit fairer, and it seems a little bit more like you go, I go, you go, I go, instead of most of the time a fair bit of stuff on our end step. And it's a little bit easier to like play around Bolt to some extent with like another Reliquary, like make it a 4/4. But Fatal Push changes that, but obviously Blue Black doesn't play any like damage based. Like maybe Dismember, but I don't even think Dismember is that great right now because Frog can play around it. Have you come up against any like left field Entomb reanimate creatures? Or you kind of always just seeing like Atraxa, Troll, Meta, the new guy?
Sometimes people will have a Grizzlebrand, but
Yes.
that's about it.
Nice. All right. What do you think?
This looks good.
Yeah. I assume like turn 1 Savannah, Green Suns for Dryad Arbor?
Dryad Arbor, yep.
Yeah, Grizzleware Frog is pretty sweet. It's kind of like just like a big cannon. The new legendary creature that makes you sacrifice non-land, like 3 non-land permanents with ward. It's a 9/9 flying lifing. That thing's kind of scary.
Like, it's very good, but I don't know how often it's better than just Atraxa or Archon. It's better against Swords to Plowshares, but Atrax is winning against that 90% of the time anyways, and against combo decks it doesn't actually kill your opponent.
That's very true, yeah. Yeah, it is just a beater at the end of the day. I don't mind
This
playing...
looks like ninjas, I guess.
I think it is. I don't mind playing the Peatland and keeping this for the Scryland.
Yeah, that sounds good.
My only
just
thought
pass,
is... yeah, I don't think even attacking, like I think just in case they are playing days.
Well, I wouldn't mind just casting this Endurance and saving Bowmasters for a relevant target.
In our turn?
No, on their turn.
Cool, yeah.
See what they do. We might want to Bowmaster them.
Valsgoth Terror Eater, that is it. Yeah, this does look to be just ninjas, which I haven't played against in a long time. Strix. Oof. I guess we tap like this. They have the force, okay. Still not too bad. Get rid of another Strix. The Strix doesn't do anything with the Foundry, which is nice, but it is a creature that they can attack with. But I think we can just probably untap, play a land, and probably pass back with Endurance and Swords open.
Yeah.
Potentially even hold up the Verdant. That's pretty interesting if we are going to go for Renegade Rallier.
Yeah, I like that line.
Nice. Just like if they have a daze. They have a daze. I think it's probably a second white source.
Yeah.
Just because we're tapping off the sword. Let us play. Let us play. Come on. Don't do it. Ah. Close. One thing I will say is that I would never want to format without days. I think days add so much to Legacy in a great way from like a puzzle perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I like playing against Daze decks. It makes it interesting.
Okay. Probably don't even want to show this. I am probably happy just getting rid of this right now. I guess we could have just played the Endurance and then held up the sword. Like we don't really need a sword there. They look to be thinking of forcing, which actually works out quite well because then we get the body of Endurance as well.
Yeah.
So who would have thought? Yeah, back to basics main deck would be pretty brutal for us. I think here it's a case of hold up Endurance around days or hold up draw a card.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always tricky playing against decks that haven't seen too much play because you do just find some situations where you're not too sure what to play around. going to draw in response in case we draw the other Bowmaster. Okay. Okay, there's a 4/4. Okay. Is it even? Oh, it's probably not even worth it.
I think probably Fiend Artisan off Zenith here.
Yeah, I like that. 1, 2, 3. Play the Noble. Pass. We could also get... I guess Scryb Ranger doesn't do what we want because they can attack with both.
Yeah, I think it's Fiend Artisan. Scryb Ranger, I mean, it can block Baleful Strix forever, but they get to make 4/4s with the Foundry.
And hopefully Fiend just gets bigger. This feels like a fatal push. Wow. They also themed the fatal pushes to like ninja-like. But yeah, this is a tricky matchup similar to Esper Vial, where like the value of the creatures that we're up against is just so tough. Especially when backed by Daze and Force of Will.
Yeah, post board we get paths, and if you can stop them from being able to ninjutsu stuff in, it can be hard for them to get value, but once they have an engine going, it's tough.
Yeah. Especially a 4/4. Just oddly relevant. Does mean we can Grist tick up and then just cast the endurance.
Yep.
Okay. Just in case of Merc, I'll hit them. But we're probably still taking 5 here. We're also at 8. I didn't realize our life total was so low. Ah, you think Kaido was most likely replaced? Okay, interesting. Yikes. This Strix, I swear, has drawn them like 4 cards. I think Plague Ajani is fine as well because you can name... I assume they play the 1 mana like unblockable.
The Outcast, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
You can also name Servo, which is decent against Foundry.
Yes. Very nice. Yeah, I think those, like, I don't think the oof is worth it. The Force is what I think about.
Revoker.
Nice, yeah.
Revoker can name the Foundry, but it can also name a ninjutsu creature.
Nice. That's cool.
I think we do want Plague Engineer.
Ah, sorry, yeah, I meant to grab that one up. opposition agent. Like Keen-Eye's interesting because it actually could become.
I think Force of Vigor is reasonable here because it can hit Ornithopters.
Yep. Put one in the maybe pile. I think Teeg. Jailer
Teeg.
On the play is probably okay.
I like having access to Jailer.
Maybe trim on Endurance.
I don't know how good. Well, Endurance is good at blocking flyers. I don't know how good Barrowgoyf is here because I do have fodder to throw in front of it.
Yeah, that's true. And also Endurance does block the 2/3 quite well as well.
Yeah. I don't know if Ajani is that great just because they have so many flyers.
Yeah.
I don't know how good Knight is either. I could see trimming a Knight.
Yeah. I could see it like decent against the 4/4s and then potentially a Karakas for their legendary ninja, but yeah, tough otherwise.
Keep in the 2 Knights, and then I don't think we need Curator.
Yep. Yeah. Nice. I like having, yeah, I do like the
then
thought of
I
having...
actually...
Sorry.
That's fine. I think I maybe trim a dork to play the second Knight, but it's not a huge difference.
Okay. Probably mulling this.
Let's send this back.
Doesn't really have a plan, which is the tough part. Has a plan. Relies on the Liberator.
I think this is a 5.
Yeah, especially if they go like turn 1 unblockable, turn 2 ninjutsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wasteland's pretty tough as well.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think typically Ninjas runs like 5 basics, like 3 islands, 2 swamp.
Yeah, they play a lot of basics.
Five to 6, yeah. Opponent having a really big think about their opening hand. Or realized how quick game 1 was and went and made a sandwich. Could be either. How long do you reckon it usually takes you to do a Maverick League?
I'd say about 2 hours, but it definitely depends on the deck. Sometimes you'll play against a combo deck and it'll be a 5-minute match, or you'll pair up against Death and Taxes and you'll both have 2 minutes on the clock at the end of the match.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. It does swing quite hard. We should have known as well. Look at their art style. That is a ninja for all money. All right. Well. Okay. It's probably the...
I guess we keep this.
Yeah.
Rallier and I like Rallier and Endurance.
Yeah. I like that.
Either that or Grist.
I like that with this, we can just go get Bayou, and then potentially even if nothing happens, next turn Green Suns for another dork, or play the Fiend. I think if we draw a land, I'd be happy to play Fiend and also Green Suns for Dryad Arbor and then just have the grist.
Yeah.
Tameo. Interesting. I think here I would probably like to find a land and then green suns for Arbor.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe a fetch. No. Get the Bayou. Okay. But yeah, back to basics really scares me. But it's tough because I feel like you just can't play around it. You got to play just into it sometimes.
Yeah. We do have the 2 Force of Vigors in the deck somewhere.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
So now we can grist, throw the Arbor at the Ninja, and play Fiend Artisan.
I feel like we're in danger. No great blocks. The Planeswalker. What stuns this?
It's really good.
Oof. We know they still have a Tameo in hand. I guess. I kind of want to put the Grist back into our deck. But I'm not sure how relevant it is here.
The only thing is that Fiend Artisan's already a 2/2. If
Yes,
we lose
very
another
true.
creature, it's a 3/3.
That's a great point. Probably happy attacking with the Dryad here. Yeah. Make them put an Ornithopter in front of it. Tricky. This is cool. So ninjutsu for 3. It comes into play as a 3/4 ninja and has hexproof. And the stun abilities, yeah, really good. Do we just want to get rid of the...
Block the Infiltrator here. So they don't draw a card. And then I think we put the Noble in front of the Planeswalker as well, just so that they don't draw another card.
Yeah. I assume, yeah, you have to... I think that might just be it.
Oh yeah, we're dead.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah, really hard to keep up with the ongoing value. But cool to see ninjas back at some level. We do have access to all our colors. We do have access to removal and mana acceleration. It's not the
Yeah, I don't hate
worst
this. I
hand.
think it's
Yeah.
a keep.
Oof. Okay. Probably a... Oh. Ah, okay. Well, I'm pretty happy to have the
Enchantress,
Liberator.
okay.
Yeah. Pretty happy to get the Bayou out of the deck. Hold this one for the Shadowy.
So Bowmasters is really big if we can find it game 1. And then post board we also have Leovold in the sideboard.
Yes.
And Plague Engineer in the board too is big against the Argothian.
Oof. I think here I don't want to play the Liberator unless we have it open as well.
I think we probably want to play the Liberator. If they have a removal spell, we just lose. But I think we want to be mana efficient because I think the way we win this game is putting down the Liberator and then maybe top decking a 2 or 3 drop next turn.
Yeah, cool. I mean, untapping with it and then having Bowmaster would be pretty cool. Okay. I guess the tough thing is that like you can try to flip the Liberator, but then on their turn they're going to be casting at least 2 spells, which means that it's not great. Teeg, I don't think it's relevant. I'm trying to think. Maybe they play...
No. I mean, there might be 1 or 2 cards in their deck that it hits, but it's not super important.
Hmm. They play Green Suns. I think we're just taking out this and then playing the Teeg.
It's tough. I think maybe we there's not really anything great to do here Because if we just pass, they almost certainly have 2 spells to flip it back,
Hmm.
but spinning the Liberator on the Sterling Grove, I don't know. I mean, realistically, I think we've already lost at this point.
Yes, sadly, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. I've totally, yeah.
It
There
doesn't
we go.
matter.
It's all gone. It's all gone. There we go. Okay. So we like the Force of Vigors, the Leo, the Plague Engineer seems good. Thoughtseize is pretty interesting. Maybe like a maybe pile.
But yeah, I think we want Thought Seizes for sure. If we can hit an Enchantress, and then I'll have another one, that kind of turns their deck off. Opposition Agent is good against like Sterling Grove, fetches. Um, what are we naming with Revoker?
Yeah, like Sterling Grove, that's probably it. Because you can't name lands. Do they play the
Yeah, I don't
the
think
2 mana
that's it.
creature that makes like a land into a creature equal to the amount of enchantments you control?
Oh, Destiny Spinner.
Yeah, we have
It could be
swords.
relevant against Destiny Spinner. We might want to trim like 1 or 2 swords just because it doesn't hit our Gothian. It'll
Yep.
hit Sithis, but it doesn't hit Enchantress's presence either.
I like that you know the names of these
We
cards.
don't need Scryb Ranger.
Nice. Yeah, probably some number of endurance out.
Yeah, we don't need endurance at all. Well, actually, I have seen lists that play Replenish. Maybe we keep 1 in.
Yes. Okay. Teague.
Uh, I think we keep in Teague. I've seen some Enchantress lists that have random cards it turns off. Yeah, we don't need Ajani.
Summer and Helm of Obedience. That's a good one.
Oh yeah, it turns off Helm
Rest
combo.
in peace. Like Knights. Decent.
8 is Wasteland for Sarah Sanctum.
Hmm.
We don't really need Curator. It's a decent threat, but I don't think it's necessary. And we could probably trim a dork. They're not really going to be going after our mana.
Yeah, that's actually a great point, Dave, pointing out that Barrowgoyf isn't great against Rest in Peace if they play it.
It's true. Yeah, we could board out Barrowgoyfs. It's a fine card, but if they have Rip, it just doesn't do anything.
Does this mean Revoker's coming in?
And then maybe bring back Curator, because
Nice.
we'll have enough types in the bin with all the enchantments to turn it on.
I like that. Hmm.
I like this. It's a turn 2 Fiend Artisan, which unlocks Leovold or Plague Engineer, and we have a Decay.
Okay. Do you ever go after the spores?
Yeah. I don't think so. They have a ton of mana in this deck. So they have 4 Sprawls and 4 Wild Growths, plus
Yeah.
Sarah Sanctum. So here we just get Fiend Artisan, and then next turn, Leovold or Plague Engineer, depending on what they play.
Nice.
And even if they have Mountain Ice, we can Abrupt Decay it to get the Fiend Artisan back.
Nice. Okay, thankfully we can Caracas that if needed. Okay. 2, 3. I think we just Caracas it and then play Knight.
I think we want Decay. I think Fiend Artisan's
Yeah.
better than Knight. So I think it's Caracas and then end of their turn, Decay the onto Nice.
Get one in. Then we still have Decay open. I like that Decay kind of unlocks the Fiend with pseudo haste.
Yeah. And then on our turn, I think we go for Leovold because we can protect it with Caracas too.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I guess the question here is, do we want the Caracas to push this back or to save?
Well, if we have Leo, we don't care that much.
2, 3, 4. Could get rid of Dryad Arbor. 2, 3, 4. Is the Noble better?
Yeah. Yeah, I think sacking Arbor is fine.
Ah, that's a great point. This is currently protected by the Sterling Grove. Ooh, 5 mana. I guess
Yeah, we don't need to pay that much yet.
Yeah,
Because we want to hold up once upon a time.
Yeah, sorry. 3, 4. Nice. Leo makes it on stream. Very cool.
They're not using their Sterling Grove, so on our turn, we could get Opposition Agent to turn that off.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'd love to see them not fetch. At least if they want to target us, we do draw off the Leo. Do not feel bad at all. Don't see both forces. Okay. I kind of like just taking the Wasteland as an untapped source. The Peatland could also be that.
Yeah, I think so. I think we want Wasteland for, well, it doesn't matter much, but if they have a Sanctum.
Hmm. There you go, Harry. We get to attack first with the
Let's see.
Leo.
So we didn't. Well, I'm just thinking we didn't port in Oof or Revoker, correct?
I believe so.
Okay,
Yeah.
because those would be good against this helm here. So we're just dead to rip if they top deck that.
Yeah, so maybe we have to go for
Um,
Liberator.
oh yeah, we can Liberator Helm, right? Because that's not an enchantment, so we can target that. Yeah, so I like getting. So they're gonna Sterling Grove for rip. So let's see, we have 4, 7. So we can play a knight and fetch Liberator and have mana to hold up the activation.
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to think if we can use the Cradle in a way where we... Because we... Play the land. Sorry, one sec. Because if we use 1, 2, 3 for the night, we then have 4 mana left over with the Cradle, which is Green Suns for 3 and then 1 left. But we probably want to hold the 1 up through Caracas. So we'll just let that
Yeah,
one
I think
fly.
that's yeah.
Cool.
You could also use Cradle now, but you end up at the same place.
Then we sack Noble. Like we could get Agent now, but I think, yeah, just getting the Liberator to make sure nothing gets us
Yeah,
next
just
turn.
in case they top deck it.
Okay. Could have definitely attacked first, yeah. That was just a... It is currently 2:15 a.m. So I did miss the Exalted. They did reveal Rest in Peace. So in response, we have to deal with this. They're going to target us. Okay. Swords, Wasteland, Thoughtseize, Green Suns. They could attack. They don't. Okay. Okay. Green Suns is interesting.
So
We
we
don't...
could play Grist, and then use Cradle, turn Fiend Artisan into a Bowmasters, ping the Dork, and then that's another way to hate on them drawing cards.
Nice. Yeah, if we play Peatland to... Guess we can
I'm gonna
return
leave
this?
Caracas up.
Yeah. Nice. Tick up. Endurance, that's fine. Sack the insect. Bowmasters. Hit this. Might as well just return now and attack with both creatures.
Well, there's no reason to attack with it because we could leave it up to perhaps Leovold. Because they're not drawing any cards off of it. And it's only a 1/2, so we can still attack into it.
I wonder if how many helms they run. Like if it's worth like using the knight here to get another wasteland to take them off the savannah. But 2 mana, 4
Well, I
mana.
assume one of those sprawls is on white.
Yes. White. Yeah, all of them. Okay.
Yeah, so wasting them doesn't do much at this point.
Hey, always home. Yeah. Okay.
And now we get to bounce Leovold.
Nice. We probably want to get opposition agent next turn, if possible.
Yeah. So now we can tag Sithis, and if they cast something else, well, yeah,
I
and
think
if they
because
cast something else, it dies.
I think they'll keep the one that's on the stack.
Although I guess yeah, they have a second one. Yeah, target them.
Pretty happy to hit it now, just to keep them off casting something else or potentially losing it.
Yeah, and then also we can fetch Teeg to turn off another helm, unless they have another one right here. Solitary confinement.
You have Shroud, prevent all damage that we dealt to you. Interesting. I guess we
Can kill Sithis, and we'll have to discard their last card to keep that around.
Well. Interesting. They probably just weren't looking to play anymore.
So I think we want Revoker if they're on helm.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe.
Does that mean
I don't think we
Teeg?
need Collector Roof and Revoker.
Yeah.
No, I think we probably want access to both.
Could be a dork.
I think we want dorks more on the draw.
That's fair.
I wouldn't mind taking the Curator out. Doesn't do a whole lot, especially if they have a rip. It's just a 3/3.
Nice. Endurance is just in case they have a copy of Hit Me With It, Harry. Replenish. There we go. I think this is probably just going to be a mulligan. A little bit too hard. We can't cast anything in our hand anyway.
Yeah, no. Let's go back.
Oh, okay. This is pretty nice.
This is great.
Kind of wanting to drop a land because we have double Hierarch.
Send back a Verdant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus Cradle. Okay. If we just get Bayou here, we get all colors.
Yep. And then next turn we have Zenith for Fiend Artisan, and then if they have On Thin Ice, we can force a Vigor to protect it.
Interesting. There's definitely thought of like Force, Wasteland, and then we have Green Suns with Cradle follow up.
I don't think we need to use it yet. I think we want to hold Force to protect Fiend Artisan. We want to keep the Hierarch in hand to pitch to Force.
Yeah.
So just Cradle Zenith for 2, yeah.
Nice. Fiend. Yeah, I guess next turn if we go for Leo, we then have Force of Vigor open for On Thin Ice. I guess that's gone now. But still, we're probably forcing this and the Presence.
The Presence. Yeah.
And then I don't mind keeping the Hierarch because if we want to bounce the Leovold down the line, we can actually cast it again. But
yeah.
Dryad Arbor 3, 4. 3, 4. I do get a free attack, and I don't think that block because they do know about Bowmasters. Huh. Does that make you want to Bowmasters anymore?
No, we just want to turn off their draws.
Yeah.
Instead of giving them the choice.
Ah, interesting. So that is Graveyard
lets them
Recursion.
on next turn.
So we still have 1 endurance. Okay. Tough. Yeah, the Grove makes it really hard because now we can't like Force of Vigor too well. Have to find Liberator
Yeah.
and go from there. Guess in case we only find Bowmaster, we can still cast it this way. It might just be Noble and then try to dig with the Peatland.
I mean, I'd say take Plague Engineer, and then waste the Hall.
Oh yeah, nice. But yeah, it's always tricky like knowing when to force. Especially with like the creatures and
Yeah,
enchantments to
so
make them draw.
when they put down the Sithis, we could have forced both Enchantresses there. They did have it on the ice. I don't know if they drew it off the Enchantresses or they already had it. If they already had it, I think what we did is correct. If they drew it, then it would have been better to force there.
This is a new one I haven't seen. Pretty cool that it takes both creature or planeswalker.
Yeah.
But only enchanting basic land is yeah. Pretty massive. There's a Cowboy Bebop promo of it. That's cool. Double Grove's pretty tough because I feel like one can find Helm. Actually, no, Helm is a enchantment. Sorry, an artifact. Can you imagine if we tried to pivot towards the leyline binding part of the format and was running Back to Nature and then just cast Back to Nature against this player?
That would be sweet.
Destiny Spinner. You know you're in a tough bind when the Enchantress player is attacking you with their Sithis. Okay.
I don't think there's really anything we can do here.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty tough one. I was trying to think what the creature is that is a 0/1 that draws cards. It's an Enchantress creature?
It's a human. It's a
Okay.
human. Or go with the Enchantress.
Because, yeah, I assume he would 2 mana up. One can find Rip. I don't think they have a way to find Helm. But they draw a lot of cards. So that is a decent way around it. Have you played against Enchantress much online? Or in person?
I played against it in a challenge once, and I've run into it a couple times in leagues.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say they could make two lands big, which is pretty brutal. I don't think we have a great way out of this. I don't think we actually have a way out of this. I think it's just got too far gone.
No.
Unfortunately. But some pretty sweet matchups. Overall, we had Enchantress, Delver, Frog, like the Jeskai Vial, and
Yeah.
one more. Was it 2 Frog decks?
What was it? It was Frog.
Ninjas. There we go. We
Jeskai,
got done.
Frog, Ninjas. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what it was.
To have Ninjas and Enchantress in the same league is very cool. I don't enjoy it. I don't mind it. Nice. I think the deck, when it did well, it did well. The Barrowgoyfs were really impressive. We didn't see too much of the Ajani or the Keen-Eyed. It is just a one-of, so obviously you're not going to see too much of it, but like when the Ajani was cooking against the Frog decks, it actually looked pretty sweet. And just like a fun card to play with as well. Like it just looks like a cool card to build around somewhat, but then it just has nice interactions with things like Grist, obviously Fiend Artisan.
Yeah. It's a really nice late game with Fiend Artisan because you can get Ajani one turn, and then the next turn you get Ajani. You sack the cat into Grist, and then you have 2 walkers right away.
Yes, yeah, I really like that part that you're not actually committing any creature spells to Grist. You can just Ajani creates them and Grist eats them up, which is pretty sweet. It is nearly 3. So I'm going to get some sleep. But a huge thank you to you, Harry, for coming in and watch and co-streaming, and a huge thank you to all of those who came in and watched. Is there anywhere people can find you? I know that you are at Harry_Hackett MTG on Twitter.
No underscore, just Harry Hackett MTG on Twitter.
Nice.
I'm on the Mav Discord a lot. You can find me there.
Very cool. Do you have any like in-person tournaments that you're playing at coming up?
So actually tomorrow is the DMV Invitational event.
Ah, nice. That'll be sweet. What is first prize?
First place is a grand and a trophy. And also they have playmats, so everyone participating gets a playmat, and they have a playmat for top 8 as well as the winner.
Nice. That is, do you know what artwork's on the playmat?
It's like retro like vaporwave type stuff with landmarks from the DMV area on it.
Cool. That's sick. Nice. Yeah. A huge thank you to everyone who came in and watched. Thank you to new followers and the new subscribers. I'll be back in 5.5 hours. So I'm looking forward to that. With John Yannick, aka Dreadnought33, on Green White Depths. And hopefully for that stream we don't enter the league with Maverick. That was yeah, it happens. But a huge thank you to everyone. Yeah, I'm gonna raid Jarvis, so enjoy their stream. And yeah, Harry, a pleasure always. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great to see your MTG Goldfish ever growing with Maverick performances. And I look forward one day to recording that first in a Maverick in a legacy challenge. That'll be cool to see. But yeah, best of luck tomorrow as well.
Thank you.
Nice. All right, team. Catch you soon.